Hi, excuse me, I have a frog in my throat. I'm Rochelle Jackson, and I am your non-toxic lifestyle coach. Pardon me. Always have water ready. It'd be better if there was water in it. That's just the way it goes. Um, I'm coming to you this week with another part of my New Year's challenge that I gave to you. And I know I gave you the challenge of finding resources out there that give you um, names of toxins and what they are. So, um, and how to identify those and how to really break those down when you're shopping. So, if you're joining, I'd love to hear from you. I can see the comments live. Um, I am flipping back and forth between banners, so if there's a delay, please forgive me, but I can see your comments live. So um, hashtag live if you're joining live and where you're coming in from, and hashtag replay and where you're joining in from, and your name if you can. I love to know where everybody is kind of coming from, and it's really all walks of life that join us. It's pretty amazing. So, without further ado, I promised you that I would tell you about our New Year's resolution that we made, and that was finding a kind of toxin manual. And I thought, that's not fair of me to put that on you when I have resources readily available. So what I have for you this week is I got all kinds of things going on. I have put together a toxin manual for you. So our homes are our sanctuaries, and we want to keep them that way. But what happens when the treasure that you have lived in becomes a health hazard? Whether it's black mold, whether it's asbestos is found, whether electrical inspection is done and they find knob and tube wiring, whether it's as simple as lead paint that hasn't been painted over enough times and your child eats the paint off the wall and tests positive for lead. It's really an interesting dynamic how our homes can become a scary place for us. So I'm here to kind of share with you the top 13 items that you should watch out for and just think about. Number one is, well, I guess there are 14 items. I'm sorry. Number one is volatile organic compounds, VOCs. These are chemicals that they're in paint, cleaning supplies, air fresheners. They can cause headaches, dizziness. They are known for respiratory issues. People that have asthma can't be around them typically. Upper head, nose, throat irritation, short term. A cancer, liver, nose, kidney damage, and nervous system problems in the long term have been noted, and VOCs pose a particular risk to infants and fetuses. This is why they tell pregnant women not to paint the nursery. Now, they've come out with new paints that are low VOC, but this is where this has come from. I've always questioned why we live one style when we're pregnant and another style when we're not. If it's dangerous when we're pregnant, it's probably dangerous when we're not. So being around those VOCs is not a smart move. Next up, we have asbestos. I have asbestos in my house. It's a 100-year home. Anybody in here that's probably got a 50-year-old home probably has asbestos. It's a mineral that is resistant to heat and chemical corrosion, and it's mixed with other materials to strengthen them through chemicals that bond together. And basically, the U.S. banned them, but not completely. So with that being said, they're still allowed to use 1%. They're still allowed to have 1% of asbestos in old buildings. And it's more than likely higher in home percentages because they're only checking commercial buildings. So roof tiles are typically, if they're very old, can be asbestos. Fibers can be asbestos. Wraps for ductwork are often asbestos. And asbestos itself is not dangerous until it becomes airborne. So if it is undisturbed, then you can call an expert in to take care of that for you. Please don't try to do that for yourself. And if you're joining live, please hashtag live and where you're joining from on the replay, hashtag replay, and again, where you're joining from. So up next is, and I can see comments, so feel free to join in with comments. So benzoyl benzoate. This is an insecticide that is used to kill lice or scabies. Here's the next part of that. It is also used as a food additive to flavor in fragrances, any plastic. It is suspected it's a neurotoxin. So it's a food additive. They use it to fragrance plastics, and it's a neurotoxin, a known neurotoxin. And we still use it. It's not banned. I'm checking for that one. Benzoyl benzoate, and I put the names scrolling at the bottom. So please, if you're joining, feel free to comment or hashtag live where you're dialing in from, or replay if you're watching on the replay. Next up is phthalates. Phthalates are more common. We hear about phthalates pretty often. These are the chemicals used to make plastics more flexible. So you think about, how rubber balls have gotten so much more bouncy and flexible. They're used for shower curtains. This is a big deal for me. We use cloth shower curtains. Well, we don't glass doors, but we did use cloth shower curtains to protect ourselves from that because of the heat on the vinyl shower curtain would release that phthalate. And then as you rubbed against it, it would release into your skin. It's on vinyl flooring. If your child is crawling around on vinyl flooring. It's in personal care products. We knew that because personal care products are starting to come out and say, oh, we don't have phthalates. But that's a tricky thing. And I encourage you to use those apps I told you about because those have the real truth. Phthalates can cause endocrine disruption, respiratory problems, and other health issues. Right side by side are parabens. These are a preservative that pharmaceutical cosmetic paste, shampoo, and conditioners, all types of the pharmaceutical cosmetic company uses. And they are endocrine disruptors and have been directly linked to cancer. There is no reason these should not be banned. But they're in our items, so please look around your house for them. And when you're done with them, just switch out for something new. I'm not asking you to make a complete overhaul. That would bankrupt us. Use what you have. It's not going to kill you. Then switch over to something that's affordable. And you can find affordable because I did it. I did it last week. So go back and listen to the podcast, Healthy Home, Healthy Life, or watch last week's episode that I put out here and see how easy it is to find an affordable, healthy choice. So they are also directly linked to cancer. So pesticides. These are used in to control pests around the home. Obviously, your ants spray, your roach spray, your bee spray. I have never been a fan of killing insects in the yard. I know they sell a spray to kill insects in the yard. And I think if you kill insects in the yard, what happens to your biosphere? Like, I mean, you've just completely eradicated what nature does. So that one has always baffled me. But pesticides like your Roundup, there's obviously lawsuits over that one. I've skipped. So pesticides, they are toxic to humans and animals, cause a number of health issues, such as respiratory problems, headaches, even cancer. They're not something I want to mess around with. Finding an organic solution is great. The challenge is organic is typically fertilizer and not a pesticide. So we haven't mastered that one yet. Now, the next up is lead. Lead can be found in older homes, in lead-based paint, in water pipes, even in soil. It can cause a number of health issues, developmental delays, behavioral problems in children. It can be harmful to pregnant women, fetuses, and unborn children. And it's just a nasty, nasty thing. Now, they've stopped using lead paint in, I believe, late 60s, early 70s. But if you don't have enough coats of paint over top of that in your home, you'll want to continue to put some paint over that so that your child doesn't ingest paint chips. Then we have this word that I'm going to butcher because that's just how I roll at this time of night. So I'm just going to say BPA and BPS. So there's been huge controversy over BPA. We all know BPA is bad, BPA is bad, BPA is bad. Well, the industry responded by giving us BPS. They said, it's safe, you're not going to have a problem. So the chemical in BPA, like polycarbonate plastics and epoxy resins, found in food packaging, water bottles, and more, causes endocrine disruptors. And they leach out of the bottles of whatever they hold. So a lot of these BPA bottles are holding water or beverages for long periods of time. And especially if they're acidic beverages, they're definitely leaching. Unfortunately, recent studies show there is the exact same similarities between the detrimental health lines of BPA and BPS. So those of us who made the switch might want to switch to stainless or glass. Just kind of stinks. This is another fun one to say, so I will just say these are flame retardants. If you use a Scotchgard, if you have furniture that's earlier than 2004, if you, and it's possible that you've passed mattresses down through kids, or couches down through kids, or maybe you picked your couch up and you have no idea. Check the labels very closely. The foam used prior to 2004 is coated in polybrominated diphenyl ethers, PBDEs. This is true of mattresses, baby clothing, especially sleepers. And they are extremely toxic. They were meant to slow the spread of fire. However, the chemicals have been deemed so toxic that they can cause health issues such as tumors, delayed brain development, thyroid issues, cancer, and so much more. So when in doubt, throw it out. Don't even donate it. Just throw it out. This next one, again, I will say these are PFCs. PFCs are polyfluorinated chemicals. These are a chemical compound that is created with the reason to repel water and heat so that they're really popular in like fast food restaurants. So the plastic baskets with not the baskets, but the paper boats with the wax on them. So they're repelling heat really well, and they're repelling any kind of water. Mini fast food containers, you think of your Happy Meal boxes, anything of that sort. Containers to paint floorings, furniture has polyfluorinated chemicals in it. These all lead to cancer, thyroid issues, damage to your immune system and reproductive systems, high cholesterol, hypertension, and birth defects. I don't know that it's worth getting that special box of Happy Meal or whatever it is, Jack in the Box or Wendy's or Hardee's, or I'm not discriminating, I'm sorry. It was the first thing that came to mind because I have kids that love it. But yes, definitely be aware of those. And those are called PFCs, or polyfluorinated chemicals. Here's one that might shock you. Formaldehyde. It's a smelly, colorless, flammable gas used in pesticides, building materials, textiles, cosmetics, and home goods. Yeah, you know that last store you love that's yellow and white or yellow and blue? Their furniture is full of formaldehyde. And I'm not saying it all is, but oftentimes if there is something where there is some sort of adhesive or specific smell, that is something that you can tell is formaldehyde. So it is a clear carcinogen, and it is a suspected gastrointestinal, immune, nerve, reproductive, respiratory, and skin toxicant. Then we come to, I'm missing, I apologize, pair and polyfluoroalkyl substances, or PFAs, or PSA is their class of chemicals, including PFOs, and Gen-X. These repel water increase, so that you're using the manufacturing nonstick cookware, stain-resistant clothes. Your carpet is stain-resistant. Even the inside of your microwave popcorn bag doesn't even hold liquid. This substance builds up in your body over time and can lead to cancer, heart disease, and immune system damage. So that's one to watch for, and that was polyfluoroalkyl substance, PFAs, also known as PSA, PFOA, PFO, or Gen-X. And finally, endocrine disruptors. Endocrine disruptors regulate hormones. The endocrine system regulates our hormones. So, for example, your endocrine modifiers or hormone disruptors, chemicals that interfere with your endocrine system, mimic or inhibit natural hormones. They cause reproductive damage and have been implicated in cancers of the reproductive system. I know this one near and dear right now, as I'm fighting a new, mine's thyroid. So not exactly the same, but I'm having some endocrine issues as well. But neither here nor there. These are 13 or 14 items. So I'm going to go through them here on the screen for you. So you've got volatile organic compounds, asbestos, benzyl bosate. Now remember, this is used for lice or scabies. It's also used as a food additive for flavor in fragrances, in plastics, and suspected neurotoxin. We got phthalates. These are chemicals that make plastic more flexible. We have parabens. These are preservatives used in cosmetics, shampoos, conditioners, a lot of skincare products. These are known endocrine disruptors and directly linked towards cancer. We have pesticides. These are used in controlling pests around the home, on farms, in growing animals and plants that we eat. And a number of health issues can come out of this, including respiratory problems, headaches, even cancer. Then we have lead. If I can get to my page. Lead is more of a problem of an existing home that's prior to 1970. If you have a newer home, it's not going to be as much of an issue, except for lead pipes in the ground. But if it's a new subdivision, you wouldn't have to necessarily worry about that. So lead in your soil is a concern if your child is out there eating soil. Something you might want to have checked out. But lead-based paint, water pipes, soil, older homes all have these things. There are a number of health issues, development delays, behavioral problems in children, and it's harmful to pregnant women, fetuses, and unborn children. BPA and BPSs, these are those plastics that I told you that they replaced BPA with BPS and said it was safe, and now they're saying, oh, sorry, it's not. Flame retardants, the polybrominated diphenyl ethers. Polyfluorinated chemicals. These are your water and heat resistant fast food containers. Formaldehyde, which is your gas used in building materials, textiles, cosmetics, home goods, the new smell of a mattress or piece of clothing that comes from formaldehyde. It's definitely a carcinogen and has some nasty suspected gastrointestinal, immune, nerve, reproductive, respiratory, and skin toxicant effects. There's per and polyfluoroalkyl substances, and they're also called PSAs or PFAs, and it's in classic chemicals, including PFOAs, PFOs, and Gen X's, and they repel water off of nonstick cookware, off of your clothing, off of carpets, even off the inside of a microwave popcorn bag, which blows my mind. But they also build up and accumulate in your body over time, causing heart disease and immune system damage. And finally, endocrine disruptors. The endocrine system regulates, I'm way behind here. Oh, I forgot one. The endocrine system regulates hormones. If something interferes with this system and mimics it or inhibits its natural hormones, it damages potentially the entire reproductive system and causes implications of cancer. I have one more. I will just say mold for now, and we'll go back to it in another day. So what the heck can we do? The best way is to avoid these toxins, to get informed, to avoid them, to minimize them. Obviously, we can't get away from them all right away, but start as a gradual. As you finish one bottle of the toxic cleaner, pick up another that's got none of these items listed. If you know you're going out and buying furniture, make sure that you're buying furniture that is safe and in the past 2004 date range, so you're not in that flame retardant zone. And, just properly ventilate your home. Open your windows. Even if you have allergies, it's important. It's also important to regularly clean and maintain your home to reduce buildup of toxins. So I know today was rather long. I bid you adieu. I thank you for your time. And I wish you all well. And we'll talk to you very, very soon.